Here's a gazillion cheat codes or console commands, over 100 of them, from playing in third person to quality of life stuff to, well... Now, you don't need any mods or anything to use these, it's built into the game. All you have to do is load into a save, type cheat stick, press F1, and the command menu will pop up. Breaking stuff is always fun, so what better way to start off than break objects? You have to put a number in meters after it, and this will break any object in the game within that radius. Now that wasn't enough destruction, we always take it to the next level here. Let's add a bigger number after that, and, well, my PC sounds and looks like it's about to have a stroke. Come on, you got this. Okay, you don't got this. AI Village Closest shows you where the closest cannibal camp is. In this case, these poor SOBs are about 330 meters away. So let's go pay the locals a visit. Now, Break Objects also works on everything that they have in their village. Sorry about that, fellas. So going back to the locals base, Creepy Village will turn this place into a WWE match. It spawns a raid of demons to attack the closest camp. Now, it does take a few seconds for them to get there, but once they do, it turns into complete chaos. RKO's all over the place. We even got Devon grabbing the table. The hell was that? Now they're throwing tables? I'm so sorry, guys. What have I done?
I set them free.
Duplicate object, just like other commands, could be a 10-minute in-depth video by itself. Let me know if you want me to deep dive on any of these. But to show you that they can be used in simple ways, if we duplicate the ocean, let's say maybe 10 times, it gets a bit wacky. If I duplicate the ocean 50 times, be really careful with the numbers doing this. It's really taxing on your PC. It gets really wacky. If you ever want to know what it would look like if glaciers took over the world, you're welcome. And you can keep doing this over and over and over to make it even more ridiculous. Since we're already messing around with the ocean, enable and disable go are usually used for more complex stuff. But to show that they can be used for something simple, disable go will turn an object off. Enable go will bring it back. Toggle go is the more popular one for simpler stuff. It basically does both of the last two commands. Toggle go crest ocean will get rid of the ocean, and if you type it back in, it'll come back. You can also toggle go certain objects, like Lake N, which I think is still the biggest lake in the game, as well as more general things like streams, which will toggle all of the streams, not just one in particular. But there's an even easier way to get rid of all of the textures in an instant. Rolled object disable all removes almost everything, including cliffs, grass, you name it. From the zone that you're in, not the whole map. To take it even further, toggle go waterfalls will get rid of this one, as well as the rest in the world. And obviously typing this again will re-enable it. Rolled object enable all will bring the world back to life. For the last toggle command, if you give Virginia the leather suit, and then toggle go C1 leather suit, you get yeah. Audio play event followed by a number, and I mean there's hundreds of these, shows an audio file as well as plays it. For example, number 1 sounds like you're taking a leak into a pan. Number 2 sounds like you're taking a leak in a different pan. 72 kind of sounds like a more cinematic noise. Or 15 for the gold room audio. Again, there's hundreds of these. Just keep changing the number for different sounds. Animals enable off will get rid of every animal on the island until you log back in, or if you don't want to reload, animals enable on will bring them all back. Destroy is a very useful command. You can use it for basic stuff like destroying a lake like this, but where this thing really shines is combining it with toggle structure resistance debug. I feel like I need an inhaler after saying that. This shows the name and number of all built structures. This is another command that could be a whole other video by itself. I actually have one, plugging it. So using that, if we combine it with destroy, in this situation, let's say destroy beam 248. Now you end up with something impossible to build in the game, and these all save, by the way. You can also destroy pillars, walls, floors, etc. Talking about building, especially the corner roofs, you end up with a bunch of left over. To get rid of this mess real quick, clear pickups followed by a radius will remove the garbage. Now, if you picked up a nice piece of real estate like this, but the view sucks because of all the bushes and whatnot, but you want to keep the trees, clear bush radius will clear out all of the nonsense, but will leave the trees around, so you can decide after that which ones you want to get rid of. AI show nav graph will add a blue color to the floor. This shows where the AI understands how to navigate or not. I'll pair this with AI thoughts, which is really cool. It shows what they're thinking. It shows what they're thinking of doing next. Now, I'm not going to try to be too negative here, but the nav graph really shows how unfinished this game is. Take notice of the NPC's thoughts, and let's see if we can get him a little worked up. Well, now we're talking. I got him all ticked off. He wants to block, and now he's on the attack. But if I go to a place where there's no blue on the ground, now this idiot has no idea what to do. You'll see his, quote, thoughts bounce around, but is now a non-threat. It's pathetic. And neither does his friend. He's gonna go explore the world. Look, I saw an enemy. But I like to watch because they're standing on a spot that doesn't have any navigation. Jesus Christ. AI show pass is cool, whether an NPC is just taking a casual stroll around the world, or they're ready to attack you. It shows where they're currently planned on going next. AI show player influences shows sentiment, fear, anger towards you, and the sentiment is a sad one to see. It means End Knight planned to have a system similar to the Forest, where if you were decent towards them, they'd react and change over time. This game unfortunately does not have that. AI show stats shows anger, fear, energy. This one is a lot more relevant. NPCs like Igor, who run around a lot, they run out of energy really quick, while the slower ones don't. AI shows survival stats replaces anger and fear with fullness and hydration. I'm gonna try to stop being negative. More mechanics End Knight planned and never finished. How cool would it be if the NPCs showed you that they were hungry? You could throw a fish or meat or something on the ground and they took it and left you alone, as well as boosted sentiment. I mean, it's a double win to my prior complaint. I don't know, just an idea. Gib radius followed by a number of meters will explode enemies. I probably can't show this on YouTube because of their baby bop rules, so I'm gonna blur it out. Dismember radius is a bit less brutal. It takes a body part off. Now to put these poor guys out of their misery, kill radius followed by a number does the job. Ignite radius, however, will put them back into suffering, lighting them all on fire, whether they're alive or dead. Now remove dead will remove any dead NPC in the area of meters you specify. Now alternatively, remove living will remove any alive NPC, and this includes Kelvin and Virginia, so be careful. Now what better NPC to use AI dummy on than Special K? This will turn all the NPC AI off. They'll stand around frozen. So this is good for testing or cinematic shots. I mean, not that Kelvin had much in the first place. AI Disable removes all NPCs from the island, including animals. Now you have to turn this off if you want to see or spawn NPCs until the next time you reload a save. AI Ghost Player will allow them to act normal, but I don't know how to say it. Your character will be invisible to them. They won't react to you or attack or anything. AI Radar puts a tag on every NPC in the zone you're in. Obviously green being good or an animal, red being an enemy. AI Show Health will show their name and a health bar for anything close. It's really nice for testing between different difficulties because they do change. I'm not sure why you'd want to do this to yourself, but AI God Mode makes him unkillable. If I light this dude up, even if he falls down, you'll see he gets right back up, and you can also see that his HP hasn't moved at all. Cancel Blueprints is amazing to get rid of this UI nightmare, especially if you place one down on the other side of the island by accident, or can't find it. And I mean, this could be something as dumb as a torch. So if you don't know where the blueprint is, just make the number of radius after it's stupidly big, and all of that UI blob finally goes away. Now finished blueprints can do the same thing, but complete them without the materials. And if you have Tony Macaroni's build share mod, it also works with that as well. Oops, radius wasn't big enough. This should complete the rest. There we go. Instant book build will do the same thing for the blueprints out of the stock book. It'll complete them immediately without using any resources. Force Cloud goes from 0 to 5, and it sets the intensity of the cloud coverage. Cloud Shadow Enable Off turns the shadows off, but it leaves the clouds. And then turning it back on obviously enables them. But Cloud Enable Off removes all the clouds in the game. And if you're noticing a trend, Cloud Enable On brings them back. Cloud Factor 1 turns the game into a city full of smog, and 0 brings it back to normal. Force Rain has a range of 0 to 5 in intensity. It takes some time depending on your PC to actually take effect. So this is what 5 looks like, the most intense. And if you set wind intensity, I think this goes to 10, I haven't really tested it enough, you'll see the trees start bending over, and this storm really picks up. Force Rain 0 cuts the visuals immediately, but the audio does take some time to catch up. Free camera allows the camera to be moved around while the character stays in place. This is great for getting good cinematic shots or thumbnails, etc. Now if you move the mouse wheel up and down, it either slows or speeds up the movement. Since we're in free camera, Force Expression, in this instance angry, will change the facial expressions of your character. This is one of my favorites. If you have Tony Macaroni's Red Loader mod, X Free Cam is the same as free camera, but this time it actually flies your character around. This is amazing to move around the map, and even in tough building situations. Player debug camera is definitely one of my favorites. This puts you in third person mode. The up and down arrows on your keyboard will zoom the camera in and out, and the left and right arrows will pan the camera left and right. Now everything in the game is completely playable like this, and it allows you to get really cool views. Camera FOV lets you set the field of view. You can do this in the settings, but 70 is default, 60 is the lowest, and 95 is the highest. Now with this command, you can set it to whatever you want, and it slowly zooms in or out. I'm sorry, it's kind of sickening. 100 already goes past what we're, quote, allowed to do. Now if we double that to 200, we'll grab the puke bag for the zoom out, and things get ridiculously out of control. Now another issue I've always had with this game is End Knight thinks dark equals scary. It's not. It's unplayable. If you go into a cave in this game, you may as well turn off your monitor. You can't see anything. Cave light is what the cave's lighting should be by default in my opinion, or at least close to it, maybe in between. Create light will spawn a very powerful light brightening up the entire area. You can also add numbers after this and make a light so bright you can even see it during the daytime. The go to command is very powerful for going to specific places. So for example, we can go places like we were before, like go to Lake N, Lake F, which is the one with the huge waterfall and coffins, the demon boss location. I mean, you can even go to specific story items in the game, like the grinder trap. Now in situations like this, sometimes it puts you in the middle of nowhere. Just enter the command again and it'll send you there. And now we can tell we're in a cave because I essentially turned my monitor off. So I'm going to turn cave light back on so we can see what the hell we're doing. And the blueprint is a few meters straight ahead. Before I pick it up though, Cheat Stick adds other features. This is what happens when you press F2. I'm going to take note of these coordinates as well as other stuff like zones for the next commands. So if I go somewhere random like the demon boss from before and enter in the coordinates from where I was, it'll take me there directly. So if you take notes of the coordinates using F2, you can go anywhere, whether it be to a specific golf cart, POI, hang glider, etc. Now back to Tony's mod, go to blueprint will take you directly to the object, and I mean directly to it. Go to zone will take you to a zone location. So for example, YP is where you fight the final boss. The zones go from AA to ZZ. F2 again will show you what zone you're in if you want to go back there. It's much easier than go to or go to coordinates. Now gravity's a fun one. It changes the gravity for all objects, NPCs, as well as the player character. Even changing it to something like 1 already makes things wacky. Change it to 10 and you'll probably end up on Mars. Negative 9.8 is the default gravity in Sons of the Forest. Heal local player will heal your character for a percentage over time. God, that was a tongue twister. Regen health is awesome. It regens your health over time. Now I think this should be in the game if your hunger, thirst, energy stats are good. Maybe slow down or speed up depending on them. Just my opinion. You know, instead of popping pills and sitting in the pause menu. And I want to mention this command does stop working if you take damage. Knockdown local player knocks you down and it's kind of silly. I wonder if this works in multiplayer to troll someone. Kind of curious. Kill local player will kill you. Play game over will kill you. Jump time a day will move the day's survive forward or back. This is good for cheesing certain achievements as well as faking I survived 100 days video like a lot of people on YouTube do. You can also subtract days survived. Set time a day followed by a number will change the time. This goes on a 24-hour clock. But I like to use lock time a day because it sets the time as well as locks the time while you're playing. Now log hack gives you an infinite amount of logs, as well as stones, and so does stone hack. And if you're wondering why I don't have building animations, you unlock that feature from beating the game. Spawn item is another one that could be a video of itself because there's hundreds of them. A few examples could be stone, and since I still have log hack on, I do have infinite stone. What the hell? Or you could spawn stuff like a rifle, or a pistol, or a log, or a lot of logs. You need red loader for this command, but no forest removes every tree, bush, grass immediately on the map. It's crazy how optimized this is. And if you type it again, everything is back. Radio debug will show the name of the song as well as the file name and how far into the song it is. Now refill containers is a bit buggy, but most of the time it'll reset looted containers. Remove all items will remove everything in your inventory except for the items you picked up in the beginning. The ones that come in like the emergency pack. And you can see I have a guitar. Remove item will remove a specific item like the guitar or pistol, etc. And after entering the command, now it's gone. Now you have to be in multiplayer for this one. This doesn't work in single player. Revive local player will immediately get you back up from a down position. Save followed by 8 numbers will allow you to save anywhere without a bed or a house. Season lets you change between spring, summer, fall, and winter. It's summer now, so let's make it dramatic and change it to winter. Now if you do this and it doesn't work immediately, don't worry about it. It doesn't happen immediately. It takes some time. The best way to speed this up is to go anywhere outside the zone and then back. And now that I'm back, it's snowing but the ground isn't covered. To speed this up, I'm going to use timescale. Be careful with this command. It's really taxing on your PC. With the timescale speeding things up, this happens much quicker. And to give my GPU a break, the default timescale is 1. Set game time speed makes the time move a lot quicker. You can see my GPS time is flying by. Set current day is weird. It always sets a day to a day after. So for example, like day 100 is 101, day 5 is 6, 50 is 51. Set inventory percent is another weird one. So I have 10 ropes, so if I put in 50, I now have 5. Gain strength will give you XP towards strength, but I mean you'd have to do this a million times to see gains, unless you made the numbers stupid. A much easier way to do this is set strength level to 100, which is the max. Show active lights does exactly what it says. Now I did this on a new save on purpose because it shows everything, including torches on your builds, everything. Show debug zone is cool. It shows the boundaries of the zone you're currently in, as well as on the top left it shows all the bordering zones. And as you move through them, they'll change colors, and so will the minimap if you want to call it that, in the top left. Show FPS will put an FPS counter in the top right of the screen. Show projectile trails is a really cool one. It's one of my favorites. So this puts like a bullet tracer on certain objects, like a spear, or if you shoot a crossbow, or a regular arrow, a golf ball, you name it. Show UI will completely remove the UI even after exiting the game. So if you use this command to get the UI back, you have to use the console commands to turn it back on. Just a warning. Hey, it's Vince from Slapchop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day. This command takes trees down in one shot, but is extremely buggy. Spawn falling tree does exactly that, and you could add a number after this, which becomes an absolute crapshoot. Now, God mode makes you invincible and keeps the stats maxed. I'd encourage you to have this on for the next few commands. Speedy run makes you run fast as hell. Super jump makes you jump really high, and paired with speedy run and God mode, you can move around the map really quick. Toggle grass will remove all the grass or bring it back. Toggle shadows is crazy, especially with how blown out of proportion the shadows are in this game. It almost doesn't feel real with them on or off. Toggle superstructure rooms visual debug, it's another one, will show you again how unfinished the game is. It shows where how hot or cold areas are in a build. This one does, which makes sense, but let's start hacking parts out. A wide open building, perfectly insulated. Makes sense. Virginia Visit will force her to come say hi. And pairing this with AI Show Paz, you can see she's beelining it towards us now. However, her sentiment is 0, which means she'll run away and we can't give her guns or outfits. The way to fix this really quickly is Virginia's sentiment 100. This will max her liking of you. So right now I have no items at all. Add all items does exactly what it sounds like and adds almost every item in the game to your inventory, minus some story items. Add character followed by a name will spawn NPCs. In this case, I'll use Robbie, which is Kelvin. You can also add a number after the name, which spawns that amount. So if you want 10 idiots, add 10 to the end. What am I rapping? So add character cannibal will spawn a random cannibal. I'm not going to go too much further into this. Alright, so I'll do one more. You can spawn animals, so why not spawn sharks on land? Add item lets you add specific items into your inventory. So for a few examples, the first one being the pistol, the second being the shotgun, and the last being spears. There's a ton of these items. I'm sure you can find a list on a website. Add prefab spawns certain items into the game that I guess the game doesn't consider items or objects. Maybe bought assets, I don't know. The most common one being the golf cart. And of course you can add a number after to spawn more, but be very careful because the game really doesn't like collision with these. Another one is a snow cart, which is just a golf cart with a plow. Or I like this one, particle tester. This could be really cool for cinematic shots. We already went over character spawns, but I'm going to add Virginia just to show off AI animation speed. AI anim can be positive or negative numbers. In this case, you can see now that Virginia's done a couple lines of, and this affects all AI as well as enemies. 1 is a normal speed. Area Shadow 1 casts a shadow over the entire zone you're in, and Area Shadow 0 brings it back to normal. Now, buff stats will do exactly what it says, but what's interesting about this is if you do it over and over and over again, you can actually buff your stats way past the maximum that's possible in the game. What the hell? Now, if you think I qualify as a punter, make sure to like and subscribe.